welcome to episode 2 of our relationship series. Tonight's episode, we're looking at smashing the stereotypes of being single. So whether you are happy being single, whether you're looking for someone or you're just still trying to figure out life, we're going to talk about some of the healthy and practical ways to enjoy your single season, because it can be a really fun season of life, it can be a vulnerable season of life, but we want you to get the most out of it.
Totally. And you know what? I'd love to be able to introduce our next guest on the show. We have Larissa and we have Pastor Seth. Now, Larissa is a makeup artist as well as a counselor doing incredible things in business, lives life to the full. And we have Pastor Seth who's killing in the youth ministry. Just started off with Dreamers, Count On, new single. It's just come out.
Yeah, the youth music just released our first single, which is pretty cool. Count On last Friday.
Come on, and how's it going?
It's awesome. Available on all platforms. We had great reports about it and hitting nations around the world and young people, and it's super exciting. First of many, man.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
Now, Larissa, what you're doing is something very special. You've been able to pour back and help other people. Why don't you tell us a bit about what you're doing currently?
So it's quite unique what I do, still in the industry, which is pretty amazing. So I worked for many years as a makeup artist, and then I did a counselling degree in 2014, and I just was like having a chat with God. I'm like, God, you know, I'm not one without the other. So I combined the two together and just relaunched my business, and now I develop and teach makeup and self-esteem workshops. So
awesome.
Yeah, it's really rewarding.
So how does the counselling side of things fuse together with the makeup side of things?
Oh, it's that inner and outer beauty. So it's really kind of teaching people how to look after themselves from the inside out.
Fantastic.
And giving them the life skills that they need to be able to, you know, handle situations where they're not feeling really good about themselves, or if they have body image issues, or if they have anxiety, or if they're, you know, just learning to be the best that they can be instead of just focusing so much on what's on the outside.
Right.
So good.
Amazing. So good.
Well, look, before we get into our conversation tonight, we want to have a little bit of fun, get to know you both a little bit better, and play a game of Would You Rather, right? So I'm going to chuck some questions out there. I'd love to know. Don't think too much about it. First response that comes to mind. Would you rather be able to talk to animals or speak all the foreign languages?
That's easy.
Go.
All the foreign languages.
Oh,
Yes, all right, why?
Well, because then I can talk to people and actually have friends and like do life.
Yes.
And I'm terrible at learning foreign languages, actually.
All right, so it would be a real gift.
Yeah, it would be a help.
Larissa, what do you think?
Animals.
Wouldn't you be interested to see what they say?
I would love to know what animals.
Really?
Yes.
I'm surprised.
I think
Animals
you
are
could make
beautiful.
a lot of money out of knowing
You
what animals
could.
are saying. You could have a lot of fun with
Special
that.
gift.
Okay.
I like it. All right. Would you rather have more time or more money?
Ooh.
My head first all goes to more money.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah, I like it,
More
Seth.
money. Yeah. more money all the
More
way.
money means you have more time as well,
Exactly.
because you can just pay everything.
Exactly. You know what I'm thinking? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I would say more money, because I would have more resources to be able to help and do, kind of branch out and do exactly what I needed to do to help more people.
My thought is you use all the money to pay someone to clean your house, make your food, do all the things you don't want to do, and then you get more time anyway. I love
That's
it.
right.
All right,
Both.
win. Okay, would you rather be a kid your whole life or an adult your whole life?
Wow.
That's easy, a kid.
A kid.
For sure, for sure.
No worries.
Yeah, no worries, but they just look at things so differently and they love everyone equally as well. So I just feel they just truly embrace that unconditional love for everyone.
I think I'm on the adult side of the fence.
Do you know what's funny, Seth? I knew you as a kid and you have been an adult your whole life. So look.
Is that a compliment?
Thank you.
That's a backhand. All right, I'll take it. Yeah.
I think that's just who you are.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Would you rather date someone you met online or go on a blind date?
Oh, blind date for sure.
Why?
I've done the online dating. It is...
Interesting.
It's interesting, guys. It is really interesting out
Blind
there.
date
So
for you.
I would definitely go on.
I was going to go in the online thing, but I've never given it a go. So, you know, because I feel like you know the person more, but then what if they're fake and
That's
do they
what if
misrepresent
you're a
themselves?
catfish?
Yeah.
You never know.
Does that happen? Is it real?
It is real. It does happen.
Wow.
For sure. Speaking from experience, it does happen. Yeah.
That's the world we live in these days.
It's the world we live in. It's
gosh.
crazy.
There you go. Well, to start us off, guys, I wanted to ask you guys. Now, I cop it a lot, right? In terms of copping it, it's just like, you know, joking around and stuff, which I'm cool with. But I probably find a lot of comments and jokes on the Sunday morning from the preacher on stage going, oh, by the way, Gills is still single, and the whole crowd just laughs. Do you guys get hammered in that regard? A lot of jokes and stuff in that regard?
I reckon it's Gills.
It's just you, Gillian.
It's just me.
I think it's just you, buddy. I think you're on your own for that one.
I'm
You
now
look good,
accepted.
you're fit,
Oh,
you're
stop
healthy,
it.
you're a pastor, you're a godly man.
See, I'm getting
you're a
hammered
family
right
man,
now.
you're a funny man.
From someone always
From
Sitting on the front row, you're perfect.
You are.
What's the problem?
I've come to the realisation now that if the preacher just needs a quick joke, a quick icebreaker, Gills is single, gets the whole room.
Yeah.
I get that a bit. Youth pastor. I'm on the other side of the room. Youth pastor, easy culprit.
Yeah,
Pay them out.
that's right.
Yeah.
But I'm cool with it. It's no
Yeah.
worries for me. I'm just like, yeah, it's cool, no worries.
It's quite interesting because I get the opposite. Because I am, I embrace being single, I find that I don't get a lot of my friends or anyone else kind of trying to set me up. I think they must just assume because I am single and comfortable being single that I'm not yearning to meet someone. So I get the opposite of that.
Because I wanted to ask you, Larissa, how do you feel about being single?
I do enjoy it, but there are moments where you do struggle with it and you do feel lonely and you do yearn to do life with someone. And those times are hard, but because I've been single for quite a long time, and God has just, in those hard seasons, He's really kind of drawn me close to Him. And you definitely do have those moments where you are tempted to go out in the world. And it's like, yeah, I could go out in the world and I could be married already. But God kind of brings certain people into my life who have done that, or friends who have done that, and the effect of that. And then I'm just like, oh my goodness, God, thank you so much that I have stuck by you. And because I've been single for so long, I wouldn't give that up just to get married.
So good.
Just to kind of give into that pressure,
compromise,
just to
to
compromise
be
all of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's such a blessing to be single because you get to have so much time with God, good and bad, because you're fighting your fleshly desires as well. But it's such a reward because you learn so much about yourself. And I don't know about you guys, but the longer I've been single, I kind of look back and go, I'm so glad I'm not married when I was in my 20s, because I'm so different now to how I was then.
Yeah.
And you understand relationships better, you understand people better, you learn to be more gracious and all of those things that are really important. And you understand relationships
What
better.
are some of the benefits of being single? You've already touched on some of them, but what are some of the things that you go, look, it's actually great that I'm single because this it means this?
Freedom, I would say,
Yes.
is great. You can get up whenever you want. You don't have to worry about anyone else. You can just kind of do your own thing. You've got as much time with God as you want to. He's with everyone all the time, but when you're single, you've just got access to that all the time. You can go after, your dreams and your goals, and you just don't really have to kind of worry about anyone else. And you can focus on working on yourself, which is really important, I think.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times, especially you get so much pressure in society, and sometimes, in churches as well, where you feel like you've got to get married at a certain age, you've got to, and then once you get married, it's like, okay, now you've got to have the kids. Once you have the kids, it's like, what else is next? You've got to have another kid. Yeah, it just goes on and on, right? The pressures. So it's just being able to just learn so much about yourself, and a lot of the times God is just wanting you to work on things possibly that you've struggled with in your past.
Yes.
So then you don't take that into your relationship.
Yes.
And that is just gold.
That's
when you can do that.
That's very, very good. Look, I think there's some viewers out there tonight that's probably watching and probably in the mentality of like, I just can't wait to be in a relationship, and they're almost kind of just waiting for life to start when they get into the dating relationship. So there's a lot of good things that you've been talking about. How do you live life to the fullest now in the season that you're in now, opposed to people just waiting, okay, once I get into that relationship, then I'll be happy?
Yeah. And look, sometimes I fall into that trap as well, where you do think that, but you're not going to be happy even if you do get married. If you're not happy single, if you're not content single, you are not going to be fulfilled by someone else. They're just not going to be able to do that for you at the end of the day. So you've got to learn to be able to you've got to spend time with yourself. You really need to. And you've got to find out, why am I so desperate to feel accepted or to feel loved by someone else?
Wow.
And if you get genuine reasons for that, that's completely fine. But if God's kind of saying to you, look, you've got rejection issues, issues, or you've got abandonment issues, you know, you don't have a really good view when it comes to the opposite sex, and we need to work on all of those things, then it's really important that you do that. Because if you don't do that and you meet someone and you think you're going to be completely happy, all your insecurities and all your issues get highlighted as soon as you meet someone.
Yes.
So, but what I've done is I've also been able to find key people that have a lot of wisdom and have a really healthy relationship with God, that are strong spiritual people that are in my life. And I'm lucky to have a family that's very God-fearing, that's, you know, they've been Christians for a really long time as well and faith-filled. And they've just really been able to kind of help pour wisdom into me. And that's just helped me to be able to do that for others as well. So
really good.
That's so good. Well, look, Seth, I want to hear from your perspective.
Yes.
Are you single by choice? Have you just not met the right person yet? Or are you just too scared to ask somebody out?
Oh, those are some tough questions. Straight down the line.
Straight down the line. No, I'd say I haven't met someone that I'm wanting to pursue yet. And so I'm just in that journey of just walking the single life. And I think Larissa brings up some great points, because you're made to feel like there's something wrong with you. Like, why are you still single? Like, there must be something wrong. Like, you're dealing with things behind the scenes. You got too much of a list of what you want in the other person or whatever. And I think just being comfortable and okay with going, okay, yes, God's timing, and yes, I do need to have confidence to ask them out for coffee in moments and be okay with that. It might get rejected or whatever, and balance all that stuff. But waiting on God's timing and not seeing it as just an in-between stage of just being single and holding on to life until I get into a relationship, but actually be able to enjoy the here and now, like hang out with friends, do stuff in the freedom that you have now to experience all that life has for you now. Like, there's stuff that I've been able to do that I'm super grateful for, that if I was in a relationship, I probably haven't been. And I'm sure there's people on the other side of the story as well. But yeah, I'm still in that journey. I definitely took your question down a different path, but
I think that's a good answer.
But I did answer it, right? I did answer it. Yeah.
So do you guys ever feel lonely?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Yeah.
I don't think we'd be human if we didn't feel lonely. You have those times. And, you know, you have times of frustration and anger.
Yes.
And, you know, you blame God for, why am I lonely? And why have I been single for so long? Have I done something wrong? Or, you know, what do I need to do to fix this so you can bring me someone? But it's not about that. It's just His timing. And I think we forget that this life we're put here for His purpose.
Yeah.
And I know I do that quite a bit as well. And I'm kind of always just like, what about me? You know, I need to do this. I need to do that. I want to have this. I want to have that. I want to be a young bride. All those kinds of silly things. But I have to remember that it's God's plan for me. And, you know, when I do spend time with God, and when I do hear from Him, He's always giving me the same thing. He's like, I'm preparing your husband for you. You've just got to focus in this season. So I've just got to be obedient to that, you know, and just... And when you focus on the wrong things, it's just exhausting, don't you think?
Yeah, totally.
And it just robs you from all the other exciting things you're doing when you're single.
Yeah.
I guess for me, how I deal with those moments there is that I know that God knows the desires of my heart. And so it's guaranteed is how I see it.
So true.
Like what you're saying, it's in His right timing. So I got to enjoy the season that I'm in now, that I can work on myself, do a whole bunch of things like you guys are talking about, because it's coming. It's on its way. That's what I really feel.
And you never get that back, right? Our singleness, you're never going to get those moments back. So why would you...
Enjoy it.
Yeah, you've got to enjoy it.
And look, can I even say, look, okay, I'm married, right? But even when we ask questions like, you know, are you lonely? Even as a married person, I have a great husband who I love, but you still have moments of being, I think sometimes people have the misconception that, once I get in a relationship, I'll never feel lonely. I'll always be happy. Everything will be okay. It is great being in a relationship, but you still have moments of loneliness. You're not totally fulfilled by being in a relationship, because we need God and we have friendships and we need all sorts of things. So I don't want people to think once you're married, that's it. It's all good. There's no issues. No, you still feel all the things that everybody feels.
Totally. How about you, Seth?
And how much more is important to learn how to navigate those seasons now than when you're with someone and work out how to balance your emotions and your feelings.
Because I don't want to rely on my husband to fulfill all those needs.
Exactly.
I've had to figure out how to do that myself, just like you guys are doing it yourself.
In single seasons. So loneliness is real, definitely in moments, but learning what to do. And for me, I think even in being in such a large community, we all are in church world, that can seem like the Band-Aid or the blanket to that issue. But I've learned that you can be in groups of people and still feel lonely in it, but to be really intentional about friendships. And I think that's something that people sometimes don't actually purposely think about, is what friendships am I being really intentional about? You can be out for dinner with groups of people, you can be hanging out, going to people's houses, doing everything, being in church and services and gatherings and stuff, but beyond those things, what am I intentionally doing to cultivate deep friendships with people around me that are actually going to help me journey through moments of life together, that sometimes we're just doing crazy, stupid fun stuff together, and other moments like being real and honest about how we're going and what's going on in our worlds. So I know that being really intentional about the friendships that I've had has really been helpful to me.
That's great. And look, realistically, I think everyone has a timeline in their head. They say, you know, by this age here, I'm going to be dating someone. By this age here, I'm going to be married.
What was your?
Mine was 30. Mine was 30.
Yours was
I was younger.
I'm 31.
You're 25. Okay.
I was like, I'll be married by I'm 30. You know, all that. So
I was all set. You've already got the picture painted, right?
I think everyone has a timeline in their head.
I was 23. I thought I was going to be young.
Wow.
There you go. So obviously there's these pressures, and sometimes we put them on ourselves. How do you guys deal with the pressure, or do you even feel the pressure in being in a relationship?
I definitely felt the pressure early on, being in church world and seeing so many of my friends journeying through that stage of life and be like, well, I'm the odd one out here. They're all going into relationships, getting married, starting families and stuff, and then being the odd one out, it made me really question why isn't it happening for me? But I think after getting used to that and being like, okay, I can go around and hang with friends that might be together now, might be starting families now, and just being comfortable with that, I'm completely free of any pressure now. But I had to definitely journey that early on in life and just be okay with people's different seasons and journeys, and that mine doesn't look like the person next to me, and that's okay.
Yes.
You know? It's God's plan, and it's just coming back to all that trust stuff in God.
How about yourself, Larissa?
The same pretty much. Like, just to, I went through pretty much what Seth went through as well, and just I had to get to a place where I was like, you need to stop beating yourself up about this and stop comparing your life to everyone else's, Like, yes, you had a plan of what you wanted to do, but God's shown you that that's not your plan. He's got something different for you. So I had to switch that. I had to really kind of change that way of thinking and not kind of sitting in the past. And that's just brought me a lot of peace. But I also prayed about it a lot as well. So I have an iConnect group at City Campus, and we're all in the same boat, guys. It's awesome. Like, we're all single. And it's great. We get to go out wherever we want to go and have adventures, and it's just such a blessing. But I know it's not going to be like that forever. So I really get to just appreciate and value it so much more. So, but
really like what you said there about you had to switch your mindset and be intentional about it. I think for so many things in life, that's what we have to do. We find ourselves thinking about something in not a healthy way. It's about taking that mindset, switching it so that it is healthy. What about you, Gills? How do you feel about being in pressure to be in a relationship?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I think the pressure's there, no doubt about it, but very similar to what Larissa's saying, and what I'm getting from you is that you find peace in God's plan. You find peace knowing that that God's got our life written out, and all I have to do is just pursue after Him. And so for me, and I know that there's seasons of life where there's massive acceleration. We're going to have seasons where we feel like it's tough, where it's uphill battle, but when it's God, there's just this grace to it. So for me, how I battle the pressures of like my mates and stuff, see, a lot of my mates are married now. I went to one of my mates' first daughter's birthday the other day. I was like, man, we've come a long way from university, so there's obviously those pressures and our internal pressures that we put on ourselves, but I 100% just believe that God knows the desires of our heart, and all we got to do is just constantly just pursue after Him. And just enjoying the season that I'm in now. It's like what Seth was saying, there's a lot of things I can do now personally and work on myself personally. So how I see it is that I'm going to enjoy the season that I'm in now so I can present my best version as possible when I'm in that relationship. I'm obviously not going to be perfect, but I want to be able to address a lot of things internally for myself and even in my own relationship with God so that I can constantly get better. Because I know when the time comes, when the relationship's there, it's important. And I want to invest completely into that.
Right.
So I want to be ready for that essentially and present my best self really.
You've been in a few weddings right now too.
Yeah,
like
Well, we've seen them all, right? We've seen them all on Insta stories.
Right,
Like, how many weddings do you go to?
Totally. How do you guys feel about like being in the weddings and stuff?
But like, I think as we journeyed this journey of feeling lonely or feeling under pressure and the different things we've gone through, like getting to a place of just been able to actually really celebrate.
Yeah, totally.
So that they're in that place.
Yes.
And that's cool, and I can enjoy their day.
Yes.
Being present to them.
Totally.
Freedom
Yes,
for yourself,
exactly.
because you're not kind of going, oh, you know, why did they get that and I didn't get that?
Yeah.
You're just enjoying everything
Totally.
that God's kind of putting in front of
Yeah.
you. And there's a reason probably for it.
Yeah.
We just don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like you can be in that position when you find peace in the season that you're
Yes.
in.
Yes.
When you like have the understanding
right.
that, hey, it's coming, it's all good. You can
Yeah.
really celebrate your friends that have just got married or just got in the relationship. It's like, that's a win. So,
And I think we forget as well, like as singles, there are people looking at us
Yeah.
and saying, you know, oh, they're so lucky, they're single, they get to do. We forget about that as well.
It's
so
true.
it's, you know, it's a nice reminder to know that you are in the right place. You're doing
Yeah.
exactly what you need to do, and just enjoy it.
and it's a bit like the grass is green on the other side, you know? But
Yes.
the thing is, the grass is
Yeah.
green where you water it.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
very
I'm
true.
all about that.
Yeah.
Love it. Great perspective. All right. I want to know from each of you then, if you met someone that you liked, would you ask them out for coffee?
Oh,
Sure.
shoot your shot.
Absolutely.
Shoot your shot.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of like hesitation, like, absolutely.
No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just want to make sure I have a chance to
Totally.
respond.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
I know it's not the easiest thing, I guess, is fear of rejection and things like that. But life goes on. If someone says no, it's all good.
This might be a vulnerable question. Has anyone asked somebody out for coffee
Oh, yeah.
and been knocked back? And
Oh,
how did you
yeah.
deal with that?
Yeah. I have, definitely.
How did
Sounds
you
like
deal with that? Because that is a real thing, right? How did you journey that in your mind to go, look, it's fine.
Yeah,
and I'm going to
totally.
ask someone out again in future.
Yeah.
definitely. I think for me, it was just knowing a black and white kind of thing, rather than just being, oh, maybe not in the grey area.
Yeah.
I prefer just knowing yes or no.
Yeah.
So at least if it's a no, okay, she's
Then
not
you
interested.
know.
Yes.
It's
You
all
know.
good.
Yeah.
Then I move on. Rather than if I'm in this constant state of like, maybe she's into me, maybe she's not, and then I never ask, and then I'm just hoping on situation just to work things out, just hoping that it's given to me on a silver platter.
Yeah.
I feel like it will never happen. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I just want to know. So might as well just
It
shoot
becomes
your
a
shot.
fantasy, right? That you can
Yes,
kind of
yeah.
stretch out that whole fantasy of, oh yeah, I like them, and maybe one day we'll get
Yeah.
together, but you haven't even asked them for a
They
coffee.
gave me a smile today. Oh, that's so nice. Yeah.
It's reminding what a coffee is.
Yeah.
Like that's when it comes down to it's a coffee. It's not asking on a date, not asking to get married. It's just hanging out, getting to know them.
Do you
But
guys
we always
feel-
think it's more.
Do you guys feel right? In circles, when someone asks someone out for coffee, there's so much pressure on it. It's like, oh, they're gonna get married now. It's like,
yeah.
coffee
That's
is
an
not.
unhealthy
Yeah.
culture
I think so
that
too.
exists. Probably, I don't know if it's in everywhere or if it's in the church.
Yeah.
That isn't actually healthy,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, definitely.
And it's actually good to bring up that people shouldn't do that because coffee is just coffee,
Yes.
and getting to know
Exactly.
someone is just getting to know someone.
Yeah.
And even going on a date or even dating, it is okay to date someone and then go, "No, we're not right for
Yes.
each other." And it's not right and not healthy to put that pressure
Yeah, I
that,
agree
oh,
with
they're going to
that.
get married. We just need to let everybody figure themselves out, and
Yep.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we've got to be
Perfect.
careful what we speak into other people's
Yeah.
life, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think especially when people are young.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's almost time for us to finish, but before we go, I want to know. We're going to do a speed round.
Here we go.
Here we go.
I want to
We got the
know
list,
your
Ready.
top five
Top five.
qualities
Top
in a
five.
guy or a girl.
Ladies first.
Guys,
Ladies first.
Oh,
Ladies
ladies
first.
first. Okay.
Feels very quick.
So on the spot, I would say definitely a God-fearing man.
Great.
So
Number one.
that is number one. Has to be family orientated,
Very
honest,
good.
loyal, and funny. And can I add a sixth one in?
I'll
At
allow
least
it.
6 foot would be nice.
Wow,
very
6 foot,
good. I
yes.
like
6 foot. I'm
it.
finding I've been on a few dates with guys that are 6 foot. I'm like, that's a perfect height.
Yes.
It's great.
Look.
All right,
It's
all
worked.
right.
It's worked well.
So we're actually listing our top 5, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
I thought we were going one
Or
each.
maybe it's-
Okay.
No,
I'm going to add. I'll add.
you need to
Okay.
work
We're all different
Okay.
people, mate.
Yeah.
You can't have a combined top five.
I thought you were going to go one, you go one, then I go one. Okay, all right, yeah.
That's only three, Gillian.
Okay, all right.
Makes no sense. sense. All right. Take some time to think about it.
All right, my top 5 is single. Come on.
Oh,
That's
come
a
on.
great starting point, please.
That's a giveaway. You can't say that.
Single.
That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
Single female,
That
right?
doesn't count at
That's
all.
godly, fun, and loves the crows. Nah,
Wow.
not really.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be crows. Someone's, it's not a deal breaker, but someone around my
sounds
heart
like
would
a
be
deal
nice.
breaker.
You know, like
Okay.
if you're dating someone's up to my knee, I'm not the smallest person.
See, height's not an issue for me. I'm pretty cool with that. Like,
You're cool if
yeah.
they're taller, shorter.
I don't mind. Yeah.
It's because you have to keep your options.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You see what I mean? It's just me. I just get hammered for some reason.
Oh, that's hilarious.
My top 5. Okay, I think number 1, passionate for God. Number 1, passionate about people.
Yep.
Positive attitude towards life. I think it's a big one. Encouraging, adventurous, and I'd probably say the last one. Just as passionate about some kind of hobby, you know, like just enjoys something that is dedicated to something. I think that's really cool. Could be anything.
Really
could be
good.
painting, could be drawing, could be as long as something.
Yeah.
So
As long as
it doesn't
it's
have to be
right.
fitness. Like I feel like people think it's going to be fitness for
Yes.
gifts, but I'm like, it's
Be
not.
different.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Seth, was your person even a Christian? They both?
Godly.
Did you say godly?
I did.
Okay, I must have missed that. That's all right then.
Yep, sure I did.
On that,
Yeah, but godly,
we'll make sure we'll keep you accountable on that.
Well, that's it for episode 2,
Yeah.
and what a great night. It's been a lot of fun. But next week we got Phil and Christy on board. We're going to be interviewing them. They're going to be talking about balance and getting the most out of life when you're in a relationship. So tune in 7:30 on YouTube. Can't wait to see you there.